Today's episode is how to stand out in a sea of boring. So Jen, recently we did an event with JLL. We partnered with Spectre Group, and we had our own little exhibit space. And I think the concern was, how do we stand out? How do we differentiate ourselves and become creative and memorable at this event? And what do we do to bring that in?
So we knew we were going to only have a 3-hour time period, so a small amount of time. So when we were kind of brainstorming, we needed to think of not only what was going to represent us well in terms of company and what we do, but also how are we going to attract 700 people through our space in a very short, relatively short amount of time. So we decided to do a booth that was interactive. And that was something that was going to be fun for a group of people who had been sitting in a seminar all day and wanted to get up and move around and have a good time.
Events, trade shows can tend to be a little more.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been in a seminar and you know what it's like you're ready to fall asleep at the end of it. So we didn't want to just have like that traditional sea of boring, which a lot of people at this trade show were. Just the traditional pull-up banners, backdrops, table covers, you know, and you're sitting there with your stress balls and your water bottles and you're just waiting for someone to come up and hoping that
brochures.
Right, yeah. You know, which is all fine, but it's so boring.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something more interactive.
Yeah, so that's when we came in and we designed and brainstormed and figured out what could bring in the crowd, and that's where the whole beam came in, which was the iconic picture of the men eating lunch on that beam.
Yes, lunch atop a skyscraper in the 30s or the 20s. Yes, we wanted to recreate that. It had the backdrop of New York City, which was nice because we're a New York-based company and this was a national audience that was at the event. We brought props and let people kind of sit up there and just have a good time. And it was nice to see everyone come together as a group and different groups of people.
Yeah. And we were like the hot booth.
Yeah, there was a line to get in because by virtue of, in all honesty, it was a great idea, but even if it wasn't, it just was different. So when you're walking down and all you're seeing is the same thing, suddenly something that looks different.
And then you created a buzz, right? So listen, we're human, it's human nature, right? So you're like, what's going on over there? Let's take a picture, let's do a little shot, you know?
Yeah. And I think it was about what we did. I don't want to say it wasn't, because the goal was to educate people on us and get us familiar, but we didn't take that small 3-hour period to necessarily go through exactly like our portfolio. It was more about, let's get them excited about us, let's have a good time together.
And it was engaging, so you're building not a relationship because you just meet someone, but at least it's something that they're like, oh, they're going to go back and be like, oh, 71 visuals, Spectre Group, that was a cool thing that we stopped by.
Exactly. So when you're back in New York and you're at your desk and you're following up, you can say, you remember us? And of course they remember you because you were the fun different.
But we also did the USBs.
We did.
So it was within the booth and they were like plugged in.
An easy giveaway too, because when you're at a trade show, you don't want to be carrying a million things, so this fits in your pocket, in your purse.
Yeah.
And you find
we uploaded our deck just to showcase like our capabilities and what we can do. So when they go back, they're like, oh.
Exactly. So it was really successful, and I'm sure we're going to do something similar again. And
now we have to up the ante next time.
We do. We can't do this idea again because
it's good we're creative people.
But we should also say that it was not expensive, because I think people tend to go towards the regular traditional pull-up banners because they think that's the cheap option. You could do something creative and have it.
Yeah, the beam was made out of MDF. I'm assuming the backdrop was gator board. So it's all materials that are for an event.
Right, meant to be torn down and not used again. If something you wanted to use again, it could be built that way also, but just don't be discouraged by
it didn't look
cost.
cheap. It looked polished. It looked very clean and put together. So it was a really nice execution.
Here, cheers to the next trade show.
Yeah, the next event.